All right. Coming up on the open here. Could be a quick shove up for pulse check. Try 29.25. Probably would have tried to take it off there, but it would have been hard to get that exit. Maybe it'll give me a second chance. Yeah, that might have had to be a flat key. So it worked initially, that pulse check there, but would have come back on me pretty quick. The idea was definitely there. We've got a pretty tight open here. Seem to be doing a lot of compression to the downside. There's that final shove up that I would have looked for. I probably would have tried to take it off at 31. We're playing with a new fourth column today. This fourth column should show recent thin areas. One below us, I might pulse check short, 31.75. And it would be a tight trade. I would honestly probably be trying to get out of it by now. We do have all this pretty strong blue below us, so I am long biased for the time being. That being said, we are steadily grinding down in overnight. So we'll see where that leads us. Got a bit of a defense below us down there around the 31 area. Could potentially watch that for a bounce or a pullback long. Pullback on pretty heavy buying. I don't think I would be interested in it at this point. Nice defense of 35.25. Could potentially be a pullback long there if it comes back on thin volume. But it is also pretty thin below that. Another defense area at 36.50. I'm not necessarily trying to force anything, but it could pull back on some light volume. It looks like it already did. It was just a little shallow for me to want to take it. I'll go ahead and hover over it, see if we get another pullback down there. This is pretty light so far. But they're going to continue to bid it up. I'm feeling a bit of a heart rate spike. Let me double check. Yeah, I'm at 123. I think I am subconsciously forcing mental trades right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the headset off and walk away for a minute and just do some deep breathing exercises. Still a little high, but I can feel it going down. I do feel a lot better. They're continuing to bid this thing up. Some pretty heavy volume below us at 42.50. Looks like some of the pullbacks have been working, and I'm definitely long biased. That's a pretty heavy pullback. I'm not sure if I'm exactly willing to long here at 42.50. And it looks like that was a good call. There's also a big buyer up there that might be getting squeezed right now. So the bias may have changed, at least temporarily. Could be a potential reversal going on here. I just don't have big orders to play with up here. Do get a little bit of a light zone above us, but I think I'm better being hands off here just because that big buyer up there has changed the outlook, at least temporarily. That being said, he is slowly starting to exit his positions. So you can see here the buying is slowly starting to flip. And I don't have a whole lot of big buying down here to rest on. I suppose this 40.25 area could be decent. Let's see if they defend it with more buying. Looks like they are. I'm going to try the 40.50 long and just try to get the microstructure. Nice little 3-tick win there. Big seller down here. Let's see if he gets squeezed. Still pretty light above. I'm pretty confident in the long here at 40.25. Let's see if we can take back this big thin area above us up to 42. Still pretty light up there. The outlook of the trade hasn't really changed. Doesn't mean it'll always be a winner. Nothing is 100% win rate. It's getting pretty grindy here, and it's to the downside, unfortunately. So it could have been an opportunity for a break even there, but honestly, a 4-tick loss I'm pretty comfortable with. The trade did work there for about 4 ticks. I'm pretty unfamiliar with this new indicator that we're using, so I tried to get the very top of the thin area, but it didn't quite work out. So moving forward, it might be wise to just capture the microstructure. Thin area above, I'm going to try the 40.25 long. Pulled back a bit on me there. I'm still pretty comfortable with it. However, if we're setting up a new range down here, I'm range against. There's the shove up. See how we react to the top of the range here. I still have a nice light area up to 41.50. However, it does look like we're rejecting that range, so I'm going to try and work the exit for a 1-point loss. So a bit of a structural trade there. The range did flip on me. Looks like that was a good cut, though, for the 1-point loss. And we are now stair-stepping down. Not quite enough selling down here for me to want to be short biased. Um, but the outlook has changed enough for me to be a little more cautious on shorts. Could be a 3-tick shove up here. Already missed it, but that was a good read into that low node. Do have a bit of buying I could rest on or lean on at 39.50. And this does look like a pretty light pullback. I'll try the 39.75 long. There's the fill. I'd like to see them defend these buyers here. However, the low node I was leaning on has since thickened up, so I'll take that off for a 2-tick loss. So this fourth column here is being a bit deceiving. I think I might want to return to leaning on just the third column here in the middle. Still long biased, as we have been predominantly buy side today. I've got a pretty big buyer down here at 40s, but it looks like he could be getting squeezed. We have now flipped to a red auction. Let's see. There's a bit of a shove above us into the low node. Looks like that's gone though. And I'm getting a little bit of lag here on my data. So I'm just going to hold off. Wait and see if my data can stabilize. There's the move up. So there could have been a long there at 40.25. But I just didn't like how my data was lagging there. Another pullback, but that was on pretty heavy volume. Yeah, this selling is pretty heavy here. I'm not going to attempt a long. There's a pretty nice low node above us. Let's see if we can defend this slip range here. I'll try the 39.50 long into that low node for 40.75. See if I can get the point out of it. Got the point. Just helps us recoup some of those earlier losses. Nice reclaim assist on this one too. Market is pretty thick today. We are grinding up into this zone. Could be a try 2 of the 40.25 up into the low node. for a couple ticks. I'm looking at a 41 even, roughly. Got it. 3-tick win. They are trying to defend this big buyer at 40. That's kind of what I'm leaning on right now. However, the more times they test him, um, the odds that he flattens his position increases. So I don't want to attack this area too many times, kind of take what I can get out of it. That was a pretty nice retest, but I think that's gone. There are some bigger orders hitting the tape here. And if I go long, I want to make sure it's super thin on the way down. This is a pretty thick pullback, so I'm not going to long there. Big seller. Another big seller. Big sellers into this high here, this high of day. They could end up getting squeezed. Could potentially be a pullback here, 42.25. See if they defend. It is pretty thin above. Kind of a prior value area below us. See if I can get 42.75. This may be rejecting. Yeah, I'm going to take that off there. 6-tick loss. The trade could end up working. I just don't want to risk a potential blowout below us. We did come down and defend that 40.25. Let's see if we can retest him again. I'm pretty happy with that retest, so I'm going to try 2 at 40.50 and just see if we can accept right back up. Okay, I like that move. Let's see if we can hold it. Get more buyers to jump in. I'm going to go ahead and put my stop loss down here at 39. I think if they test that again, I'm going to want to get out of this trade. Yeah, take that off for a loss. So 2 losses in a row, which I'm not too pleased about. I think they were decent attempts, but I think something definitely shifted up here. You can see that we have some really big selling going on. And I think that might be forcing the market down. Big selling here, 1,000 lot. He could potentially be getting squeezed. It's a little too early to tell. I would ideally like to see some buying pressure coming in above him. Big move down on the tape here. And this has flipped to all selling. You can see here on the left column, we are heavy red right now. Could be a continuation short if we retest this 38. I'm going to count that as close enough and see if we can take down that low node below us. I see a low node down to 34.50. I'm going to call that a failure. Jump out here for another loss. You can see a lot of that low node thickened back up down here. Yeah, the fourth column just might not be working too well. I don't know what the math is specifically on it. So I'm going to try not to lean into that too much anymore. Pretty balanced auction. That big seller down there, that 1,000 lot at 38, could be getting squeezed now. It's pretty thin up here. I would like to see some big buying coming in that I could lean on. We're kind of at the midpoint of the intraday range, so it might be difficult for a clear auction to take place here. You can see it's very mixed right now. Pretty thin above us. There could be another shove up. Still a lot of selling into this. We are slowly starting to wipe out a lot of those big sellers that were here on the way down. There is a bit of an open interest gap below us. We're just trending up so aggressively. I'm not sure if there could be a short here. I might try the shimmy back short, 45.75, and see if we can just take back that low node down to 44.50. Looks like buyers are winning that auction, so I'll take that off for 4 tick loss. And we are pretty steadily in the hole here. I've had a lot of losing trades today. I think that this fourth column here might be screwing me up a little bit. Let me see if there's a way to get rid of that without losing my data. I don't think there is, unfortunately. There's the short I was looking for. Nice steady move down, and we are pretty short biased above us. Let's see if we can get any nice pullbacks. I'm kind of eyeballing 43.50 to lean on that big seller at 44. This looks like a pretty thin pullback. I'll try 43.25. And invalidation is kind of acceptance above that 44 level. Still very thin below us, which I like. Do have the reclaim against, though, which might be working against me. Yeah, and that's going to be another loss, I think. Big buying here now on the way up. So those are some pretty big losses for me. I'm going to take a break for about 10 minutes, stretch my legs, make a cup of coffee, and then come back and see what the price action is doing. All right, so pretty grindy here. Short biased based off of the order flow. Definitely a lot of selling above us. Nice little move down there. Some pretty big selling at 45s. Big selling down here, 500 lot seller. He could potentially get squeezed, but honestly, we're in such a steady downtrend that I'm starting to doubt it. A bit of buying coming in. They could want to squeeze this guy into the reclaim. I'll try the 42.75 long. And that took my stop. So a lot of pretty choppy price action today. A lot of volatility too. I'm almost curious if there's any news feed coming in. No, not really. Netanyahu speaking, that could be it. Pretty big buyer defense down here. Could be a shimmy back long into the reclaim. Let's see if we come back and defend that 39 level. There's the test of that seller. It looks like he's getting squeezed right now. I would be long biased right now based off of that huge buyer defense and the fact that we have all that reclaim above us. Pretty thin below us is the problem. Thick move up, that kind of eliminated that big seller that was down there. The bias is definitely flipping to the long side currently. I just don't have a whole lot to lean on here. Right, so still grinding up. 47.25 is kind of the next big retest area I would like to see. Tried to get the long there, but missed it, but still a pretty good read. Still pretty thin here. Try the 47.50 long. I like the nice slow retest here. I just don't want to start to see it turn into a grind against that buyer. And see if I can get the microstructure high, 48.75 for a 5-tick win. So that helps. We're still definitely in the hole by a lot, and I have no expectation to turn that around entirely, but want to increase my selectivity and my patience here. Nail those really good setups. We did just make a new high of day, and so far today we have a history of reverting after we make a new high of day, so I just want to be super careful that I'm not being too aggressive with my longs, but I also definitely do not want to be short up here. Nice block of buying up here. 49.25 is kind of the level I'm watching for a potential retest. Pretty thin move down here, which I like. See if we can pull it back. 49.50 long. Bit of an overshoot, which is fine. Let's see if we can take back some of that low note above us. I do expect a bit of chop down here while we find buyers. I just don't want to see that turn into big selling. There it is. Take the point. Another really nice trade. That's kind of exactly what I want to see. I want to see us pull back those big buyers and attract another auction. And you could kind of, I have price squawk in my ear, and I could hear the auction taking place at that level. Granted, it could go either way. Win rate isn't 100%, as you can clearly tell by my performance today, but the expected value on that was just enough. We did have a really big order come in at 50 even, 500 lot bid, which kind of changes my temporary bias because in my experience, that big buyer could be getting squeezed. Now, that thesis isn't really enough for me to short it because we are still so long biased on the way up here, but it does change my level of aggressiveness as far as longs go. So I could be trying to bail him out here. Do have a bit of a thin area above us. I might try the 49 long to see if they bail him out, that big buyer at 50. Looks like they did. I just couldn't quite get filled on it. I tried the 49.25 long. What I noticed is if we have a super strong uptrend and one of those big buyers is underwater, they will likely try to bail him out. They'll push price back up above him. Whether it's a continuation or if they're just trying to give him an opportunity to flatten his position, kind of depends on the price action that follows. Either way, my source of edge there is just the fact that they probably are going to go retest his entry. I don't think it works vice versa though. If I was short here, thinking that he's going to get squeezed, I would be in trouble because I would be fighting this huge trend below me, which I do not want to do for obvious reasons. It just The path of least resistance is up right now. Still a pretty steady uptrend. I like that we're grinding above that 50 buyer. I may even try a pullback long to that level if it comes back on thin selling. I would like to see 50.25. Not quite. They touched 50-50. There's the pullback, and it's pretty thin, so I'm going to try it. 50.25 long. Didn't get filled, but I'll count that as good read for sure. Another pullback and still pretty thin, so I will try the 50.25 long again and just try to capture the microstructure here, maybe for a point. Nice little liquidity grab. This could be good news for me. I just don't want to see us accept below 50 because then that big buyer could turn into a seller. And that looks like that's what happened, but I did get a pretty nice slippage fill there. 5-tick loss as opposed to a 10-tick loss. In hindsight, I think I should have been looking at the trails better. You saw it was getting pretty thick up there. And that was kind of my cue to get out. Pretty thick auction going on here. They could want this reclaim. See if we get a retest of 48.25. There it is. And I'll try to get the microstructure, 49.50. Got it. So that was a 5-tick win to offset the 5-tick loss I took a second ago. But I wouldn't reattempt that because now we are short biased. We have a very steady amount of selling coming in here. Nice retest of some sellers here at 47. I missed the entry, unfortunately. I also not crazy about the amount of reclaim we have below us. I might want to wait for more confirmation of a downtrend. Because sometimes what they'll do is they'll put in a sharp move, they'll grind it up, put in another sharp move to liquidate before grinding higher. And that could be what's unfolding right now. They are definitely attracting buyers. NASDAQ is starting to turn blue down here. I just don't have much of a thesis for me to go long here other than the reclaim. There has still been a lot of selling on the way down. You can see here we invalidated one reclaim and now we're trading lower, which is kind of the confirmation I needed for a continuation downward. Got a pretty nice low node below us. I might try the 47.25 short, the defense of 48, and to take back that low node below us. We're going to retest that high. I don't want to see us fail it. That looks like a pretty good failure. I'll put my stop a couple ticks closer. Kind of on the midpoint of the range here. And it appears that sellers are running into trouble, so I'm going to try to take this off for a 3-tick loss. It just kind of looked like sellers weren't quite winning here. I could be wrong about that, but let's see what unfolds. Another move up. Nasdaq is all buying right now, so I tend to think that Nasdaq is leading the market right now. A lot of these sellers down here are now trapped, and they're going to start unwinding. Uh, 49.25 could be a potential pullback long. And it looks pretty thin on the way down, so I'm going to go ahead and bid it. That might chase by 1 tick, 49.50. But I'll call that idea over. Good read, though. Another pullback here. I just don't really have a big level to work with anymore. That big buyer I was looking at earlier has been liquidated. Ugh. There was a 50 lot that came in right there on the buy side, so I might try 49.75 for the long to see if they want to defend him. But it looks like that the setup is over, so I'm going to pull that order. Could be a change in character here as we trade lower. Still so much selling going on. Potential 49.75 retest. That was pretty light on the way up. So I'm going to try the short. See if we can take back those light buyers down to 47. But honestly, those light buyers might be enough to push this market up since there's so many trapped sellers below us. Let's see how we react to the top of this micro range. Yeah, it's pretty grindy. I'm going to pull that. I think that could have been a big liquidity grab right there. And then also we had that big buyer here on the ES. I am eyeballing a potential long, not to flip biases too much, but I think they are going to defend that big buyer right there at 50 even. And there's the fill. Let's see them defend 50. There could be an overshoot here. Some nice buying, which I like. Back above the entry. And let's see if we can get the top of the microstructure. 52, 6-tick win. Still very red on the day, but kind of want to see if I can get some good reps in as far as working my way out of that hole. Get some good trades to review for later. Some pretty steady buying on the way up. New high of day. All those sellers down there are now turning into buyers. I liked that 53.25 defense. I think there could be another pullback to that area potentially. I just want to make sure the sellers aren't too aggressive. I want to see some light sellers up here to fade into. There's the pullback. Wasn't quite as deep as I wanted it to be. There's the pullback. I'll try 53.75 long. I'm not exactly sure I'm going to get it though. There's the fill. Some pretty light orders above us. I would like to see us capture the microstructure. Quick move up into 55. Got it for a 5-tick win. A lot of times if they put in a very deep wick like this, I notice they will come back and retest it a little bit. So that's why I kept that bid order there. 54 is kind of the next level I see here. I might be a little bit more conservative and say 53.75 for the retest setup. That was some pretty light selling. I'll go ahead and put my order in. Chased by a tick. And I'll leave that open for a couple seconds in case we wick down. I'm going to go ahead and pull that because I think the setup's over. Nice little move up. 54.50 is the next level that I'm watching for the defense of 53s. I'll go ahead and bid. There's the fill, and I want to see us defend 53s, but that looks like a steamroll. It is still very light above us. Could potentially be a try to for the reclaim. I'm going to try it at 51.50. But there could be something news-based going on here. I like the test of 50 even. That kind of adds some confirmation for me. Let's see if we can stay above that level. Attracting some buyers. And the reclaim looks good at this point, but obviously these sorts of trades don't always work out, especially on such a sharp move. I do see some trapped sellers down here, which is nice. Into the reclaim candle. And this is kind of a higher time frame setup for me. I would like to see us take this entire reclaim back up to about that 55, 56 level. Doesn't always work that way, but that's kind of the risk profile that I'm looking at for this one. Pretty pretty thick auction below us, which I like. It's not too thin, not too thick either, I might add, which is nice. Sometimes if buyers defend too aggressively, they make an easy target. Looks like we're running into a bit of trouble up here. I'll take it off at 54.50. What was my entry? 51.50. So the 3-point win, which I'm pretty happy with. Nice. I'm pretty happy with that last trade there. So pretty steady uptrend. I do like the little slip range that we put in there. Could be a pullback long at 57.50, potentially. 58.25 is the next level I'm looking at. So still pretty grindy up here. I am waiting for a nice deep pullback, ideally to 58s. Almost gave us a good pullback there to 60. Could potentially be a pullback to 62.25. It would be pretty aggressive though. It does give me the prior value area high, which is nice. The move down is relatively thin. Looks like it didn't quite give it to me, but it would have worked if I was just a little bit more aggressive on the entry. But it looks like it's not really offering pullbacks today, which I'm fine with. So I'm gonna go ahead and call it a day there. Jump into some review and whatnot. Let's check the P&L. Down 67 bucks, which isn't bad for a red day on 2 lot micros, but obviously isn't ideal. I think that's about 50% of what I would risk in total on 2 lot micros. So that's kind of where we're sitting for now. I'll go ahead and cut the stream here, jump into some review. I'm just watching this pullback. It does look pretty nice, but there could be a change of character. We are putting in a lot of selling above us. I'm not going to touch it. My day's over. So